Webinar is live. It's all yours, Brooke.
Let's go up. People starting to join. Watch that number go up. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself so that you know who's speaking to you right now. My name is Brooke Sutherland. I am the Employee Communications Manager here at DES, and I'm going to be walking us through our live webinar today. We've also got Niket Kelcher. Hi, Niket, who's going to be helping us through some of the technical aspects of the webinar. And she's going to be managing some of the aspects of the comments, which I'll talk to you about here in just a second. This event is not intended, I think that we should introduce this as not a formal affair. This is definitely not something that we want to feel very formal or stiff, but it's a chance for us to all gather together virtually anyway, of course, and connect during a week that's intended to recognize and celebrate the public service of federal, state, local, tribal government employees. And that's all of you. It's all of you who have joined us today. And since we haven't been able to do that here at DES or anywhere really for the last couple of years, the PSRW Planning Committee, which I'm a member of, decided that we'd like to do something a little bit different that still allowed for somewhat of a live experience that kind of brings us all together. So I want to thank all of you as panelists for being here today. And I want to thank all of the attendees who have joined us and looks like are still joining us here as we talk. And before we get started, I do want to go over a couple of just like kind of logistical detail things. Number one, the session is being recorded. You might have gotten a little notification as you popped in that told you of that. The reason we're recording it is simply so that we can share it with a wider audience, those people who are unable to join us live today. And so we'll be able to share that hopefully in an email tomorrow is the plan. And then secondly, the chat is open today. And we want to make sure that we're clear this is not a Q&A session. So, but the reason the chat is open is so that we can offer opportunities for all of you, everybody here as attendees, as panelists, whoever you might be, to join in the spirit of the week. Offer your own kudos to your colleagues, your appreciation, your recognition, maybe a quick thank you or note of camaraderie, whatever it might be in the spirit of PSRW. So we want you to know that that's available, and we will also be downloading the chat so that we can share those notes of appreciation at a later time also. Please make sure that if you do use the chat, we'd like you to use the all panelists and attendees option so that everybody can see those and so we can share those messages. And then finally, I want to selfishly take this opportunity to do a real quick kudos of my own and a shout out to the PSRW Planning Committee for all the work that everybody's put in. Everybody's been great. This has been a great fun experience for me as well. And so thank all of you. So with that, I think we're ready to get started. As you'll see, our DES leadership team has joined us today as panelists. And they're here to share their own thoughts on Public Service Recognition Week and the way their DES experiences have impacted them, especially over the past year. This has been a challenging year. We've all been through a lot, done a lot, accomplished a lot, and so we feel some pride there, and I think that they'd like to share that. So I'm going to go ahead and call on you one by one. But remember, again, I said this isn't a formal event, so feel free to jump in. We're going to try to raise our hands so not everybody gets convoluted and talking at once, but we'll see how that goes. So hopefully we'll have some fun here this morning. So our first speaker is going to be our DES director, Chris Liu.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is an entirely unscripted piece for me. Because I think I don't speak very well from speaking points, so I just wanted to make sure that you know whatever comes out of my mouth comes right off the top of my head this morning. So I wanted to say thank you for the past 8 years of public service, actually, since I've been your director, and this is going to be my last Public Service Recognition Week. I'm retiring on June the 1st. But it's been one of those experiences that I won't certainly forget. All the hard work and dedication that all of you put in on a daily basis. And as you know, most of you know that I came out of the private sector, and in the private sector, it's all about your paycheck. And here in public service, it's not about your paycheck. It's more about your contribution to the public good. And none of us really come to government service to get rich. It's all about, what can we contribute to the common goal of making sure that we progress and that we can have a great state to live in. And so I had to learn that when I first came into government service 20 years ago, that was the goal, and it wasn't about making money or actually saving money, but it was about how do we use that money for the common goal and common good of the state and for your fellow citizens. And I think that DES exemplifies that. Every one of the speakers today, and please forgive them if we seem a little stiff, because we are going to be a little stiff this morning, but we really appreciate each and every one of you for what you're doing. And many of you, if not all of you, go up and above the call of duty to complete your assignments and to give more than what is being asked. And I think that's the thing that I'm going to be taking away as I go into retirement. So I'm not going to dwell too much because I want to give the forum back to your leaders and give them an opportunity to say thank you and to appreciate all of you who are out there in the front ranks and doing the work every single day. So thank you. Back to you, Brooke.
Thank you. I've seen one comment come in of a notice of good morning. And so we want to make sure we get a good morning out to all of you. Thank you. Please consider continuing to use that chat for your own messages of appreciation. So next on our list, we have Bill Furry. And if you all could please introduce yourself and your role as you come on as well, that'd be great. Thank you.
Bill, you're on mute.
And there was such a beautiful beginning too. So my name is Bill Frary and I'm the Assistant Director for Facility Professional Services. My division does public works contracting for the state. I want to let everybody know how grateful I am to be part of this agency and honored to lead the Facility Professional Services division. I'm proud of the work, and I'm talking to my division now. I'm proud of the work that you do. The impact of your public service on the people of Washington State goes far beyond the capital and energy projects that you manage. The classrooms you build give teachers the facilities they need to change the lives of young adults by giving them the education they need for a better future. The daycare facilities you build provide a nurturing environment for children while giving young parents an opportunity to go to school and go to work. The repair and remodel work you do allows colleges and the state government to function. The energy savings projects you manage not only save energy, but reduce carbon emissions to slow climate change. You are a leader in the state for providing opportunity to small and diverse businesses. You provide a fair and competitive process that our contractors and consultants trust. And you do this so well that when the state auditor's office performed an audit of our public works contracts, they had no findings. I'm proud of how resilient you've been in the face of the pandemic and our changing work environment. I'm also proud of who you are and how you cared for each other over this past year. Thank you for your public service.
Thank you, Bill. All right, and so next we have Cindy Anderson.
Hi, thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy Girton Anderson, Chief of Pronouns, and I have the great honor of serving as the Assistant Director for Workforce Support and Development. That's the EAP counseling for state employees, the statewide training that we provide, and running our LMS and NeoGov system. That's the online recruiting system. I just looked through the list and see lots of WSD employees and also some past folks who have been on our team and who have moved to other teams. So hello, WSD, present and past. I really want to honor the WSD team and what you have done and continue to do, which is really phenomenal work to persist in our mission of supporting and developing the workforce during such a challenging year. The WSD team has stayed the course on all of our critical services, but additionally have been responsive to the needs that arose from these dual public health crises that we're in of COVID and racism that we're facing in our communities. I want to just give a shout out to each of the WSD teams. I want to say thank you to the EEP team who maintained continuity of critical counseling services without skipping a beat in the past year as they transitioned to away from in-person counseling. They also went above and beyond to offer new group sessions and webinars that supported literally tens of thousands of employees around the state who participated in those and gave feedback of how valuable that support was. I want to especially recognize Carrie for creating so many new and relevant presentations in record time over the past year. And the whole team managed to manage that increase in demand while also bearing witness to and holding with empathy a lot of really difficult stories as they themselves were also impacted by these crises. So I see you and I thank you for your service. I want to thank the learning and performance team who worked really brilliantly together as a team in this past year to pivot to virtual instructor-led delivery of courses. That was certainly no small feat, and did so, I think, much more than we even imagined they would be able to do. They also acted quickly to listen to what the workforce needed during these crises and responded with an impressive body of work, creating resources to ensure that critical learning happened that keeps the workforce stable. I also want to note that Pat and Tricia provided weekly curated online resources over the year, and within the first few months, it garnered over 14,000 unique page views. The WLP team also continued to iterate and put out better and better learning solutions, such as new e-learnings and an inclusive leadership workshop. And of course, the new DEI team who's been building an awesome program to train 67,000 state employees, no small feat. I want to thank our product support team who managed to pull off a huge project along with partners in ETS and other partners across the enterprise. It was a really cool cross-agency partnership to roll out our new LMS system. And they did that while also keeping everything running smoothly. NeoGov kept running, and there was an influx of job seekers during the economic crisis, and they gave wonderful support to those job seekers who were reaching out needing guidance on how to apply for government jobs. So those are the three teams that are part of WSD. I want to say that I'm so grateful for you all, that while juggling all of this routine work and the extra work, that you never lost sight of our leading value of equity, that you made deliberate choices to ensure that we were keeping equity and anti-racism top of mind in all of our decisions and services. And I'm also grateful that even as we've been physically distanced from each other, that all of you have contributed to growing a positive team culture, and that's been really lovely to be a part. And then lastly, I just want to share a particular thanks to the folks I have the pleasure of working most closely with, Tia, Darrow, Cindy, and Wendy. If y'all are out there, y'all bring much joy to my work days, and I'm so grateful to be leading this work in partnership with you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Cindy. And so I've already had a little bit of a flub, Bob. I skipped right over you. I know I sent you all out a list, and then so Bob Covington, you're on.
No worries. Thank you. I'm Bob Covington, Director of Capital Security and Visitor Services. And I want to express my appreciation really to all of DES, the entire DES team. Our division, Cap Security and Visitor Services, could not do what we do without the great partnerships we have. And I almost hate to mention which ones because I'll forget something, but ETS and the constant work that we've done to bring our systems in place and deliver our services has been huge. Communications has been huge. Finance has been huge. Big shout out, Ashley Howard. She gives me all kinds of garbage on a regular basis, but it's in fun. And she has immensely helped us out. So yeah, this is my special recognition to you, Ashley Howard. I also want to say my deepest gratitude to CSVS. This is the most incredible team that I've ever worked with. We have made it through the past year has been incredibly difficult, which really has felt like never-ending obstacles being put in front of us. But just to highlight a few of those, because they come so quickly, you tend to forget, the COVID response. We're still in it, but COVID hit. Our team, we have team members that were deeply involved with that, from testing PPE, creating PPE standards that was used by the Department of Health, that supported the acquisition and then the distribution that our other partners in DES are still fulfilling. Creation and development of the pandemic and emergency response plans. That was a big lift immediately. Our new emergency manager, Kyle Boostad, came in. It's that opportunity of difficult time. We're all virtual. We're not seeing people to develop those relationships and pull off those plans in this environment. It's an added factor, an added challenge. But again, the team rose to that occasion. We've had more than 180 unpermitted events, protests and counter protests that have included more than 25,000 people since all of this began. We responded to the protesters' breach of the US Capitol. That had implications, and we took immediate actions when that happened. We had a response to the protesters that breached the governor's executive residence grounds. The planning in response to threats to obstruct the legislative process and obstruct access or force access to the Ledge building. Y'all saw about 800 National Guard and troopers there protecting the campus. And then we forget quickly about the three separate shootings that occurred on this Capitol campus or immediately adjacent to. These are some of those obstacles that were put in front of us. The challenges, homelessness and encampments, whether it be in the buildings, on the grounds, Deschutes Parkway, supporting public safety, great partnership with BRD and what they've done in rulemaking for bringing that forward. Deployment of new systems throughout all of this. Again, thank you, ETS, for your partnership. WA agency alert system, we've been wanting this forever in time. We were able to get there. The governor's office, the legislature funded and supported this, and it's out and it's being actively used. Completing the deployment of Genetech, our access control system. We have agencies coming to our agency now wanting to come back and use our services, which historically, say transportation, left 12 years ago, didn't want anything to do with our services. Agencies are coming back to us now because of the great work of the teams in DES and CSVS. And I got to call out civic education virtual tours. Tommy Mullis, Rebecca Catlett, the team, the creativity of going to a conference and seeing and learning about new things and thinking how we could apply those here. Remarkable. They've developed a virtual civic education virtual tour program. They've worked directly with OSPI, with teachers, ESD. This is going to be a model, I think, that every state capital in the US will be moving to, and learning from the great work of what they have done in bringing those services to students around the state and helping people in districts and organizations that may be underserved, not be able to afford to come to the Capitol. It's going to greatly expand our capability to meet our service needs to those areas. And through all of this, an increased demand for our services. When things go wrong, when there's security threats, folks are coming in and asking for even more. And all of that is on top of the daily operations that never stopped. And the team was always here, committed every single day. It was also during this time that we lost Tim. Hardest. Most difficult thing ever. I'm super proud to be a member of the team
And I'm wowed by the dedication and resilience of every team member. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bob. So much heart. Next on our list, and if you guys aren't reading the chat, we're seeing some really great messages of appreciation and everything come through, some recognition of Bob and his emotion now too. We're grateful for that. Next on our list right now, though, we'll move on. Dawn, do you have a message to share with us?
Yeah, I need to get myself composed now. That was, thank you, Bob. This is why we're all here, is the heart of this agency and our people. That's why I stay. That's why I postpone retirement. This isn't what I was going to say, but following Bob, what do you say? And it's just amazing. And when he was talking about all the things that has happened over this last year, it just made me reflect. It has been a year, and all of the engagement and everything we do in ETS, it's for you and with you, and the diversity of our agency, I think, brings out the best of the people in ETS, because it's so diverse. It's so that nothing's the same, and the people that are in ETS, I think, thrive on that and love the challenges. Thank you, all of you, for your collaboration and your work and your patience with the technology and the challenges we've had over the last year. I want to shout out to ETS. I couldn't be more proud to be on that team. I can't even imagine. I've been in an IT for, I hate to admit it, but over 40 years, and it's just a team that just keeps giving and giving and giving. And I have a list of things to say, but one of the things that recently that makes me even prouder, that doesn't have anything to do with technology, is how the team has leaned in to DEI work, how they have devoted time to really learn, educate themselves. We've had breakout sessions, awesome conversations, because it started out with, well, what can technology do with this? They found so many ways and so many things we can do. We started the whole campaign in the state for changing the IT technology language that now is being taken nationally. And we started that, and I just couldn't be more proud. And then let's get to the technology side of it. One day we were told we all had to telework, other than those that couldn't. And this team just stood up, took it on, and supported everybody in being able to telework. We had some rocky times and stuff, but with your patience and the continued effort of the team, we were able to get everybody productive and working, while all of those people were dealing with life and family things and adjustments themselves. So just so proud of that. We stood up Zoom. We were one of the first agencies to stand up Zoom. We got all kinds of crap because, there's security issues, this and that. We walked everybody through. We were the agency people were looking to. The AG's office contacted us. They use Zoom. They don't use anything else because of the security stuff. We have been through major security breaches, and DES has been safely through those. That's just something that's amazing for a immature technology shop. Because remember, we're only 3 years old right now, so I just couldn't say how more proud I am of that. The PC replacement that continues to go on, and the flexibility of staff and all of you on trying to make that work, picking equipment up, meeting people, coming in, the staff willing to come in to do that work, because we can do a lot of it virtually, and some we have to do things physically and be there. The major projects, and Bob mentioned some of them, but I think this is where I don't like to go because I know I'm going to miss something. But I just want to, just a few things in, with all of this going on and day-to-day maintenance, operation and work, we've still accomplished some major things. We've done some major upgrades and enhancement, Time Looper, Monarch, Asset Works, supported Bob in the virtual, Capitol virtual tour. We built, not brought in, built new awesome systems, Bears, Casper, tech leasing. We've helped Bob's team with Everbridge. We helped FPS with project tracking, and now B&G can benefit from that. And that's a lot of stuff, and all so diverse that I think that I just want to say I think the ETS team really rocks, and they're dedicated and devoted to you. And this always makes me very emotional. So you started it, Bob. And so anyway, I'm sure I forgot something, and I'm sorry, but appreciate everybody in ETS and everything they do, from the IT support for you to BAs to infrastructure to development to the management team to the PMs. We're going to hit Microsoft 365 hard here soon. We've did the migration of the email. Now we're going to do the rest of the things, and it's really exciting times. So thank you, and thank you all for your collaboration with us.
Thank you, Dawn. Okay, we'll go ahead and next on the list, we have Jamie Rossman.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, Dawn. And I just want to give a huge shout out to the CMP team. It's been a heck of a year, and I'm just so proud to have served alongside of you, with you, and delivered so much with you for the state. We've completed dozens of master contract rebids over this last year, including bringing 10 that were in gap status out of gap status and reestablishing those as contracts for the state to use. We've obviously delivered tremendously on our PPE mission and our school devices for children to support with remote learning. We've done policy work. I want to give a shout out to both our policy team and our SEEP team for leading in the area of developing supplier diversity policy and environmental procurement policy for the state. We've delivered trainings. We've really increased on our procurement inclusion and equity work, as well as our own internal DEI work. But what I am so proud of that we have done this year is the way that we have worked to support each other, both structurally, standing up new ways for us to stay connected and engaged with our Trello boards, with our coffee time together, with all of our discussion groups, with our support group for parents and caregivers. We've supported each other through not only the tremendous change and disruption and scary times of COVID, but also through new births coming into our division. We've supported each other with deaths of family members and loved ones. And just I've seen every single day our team members be there for each other in just incredible and profound ways. And finding ways to keep that connectivity and that joy in our work going through such a stressful time and change has been what has most inspired me. And I see that daily service and that daily just joy and collaboration and working together, and it makes my heart full. So thank you so much, CMP. It's been a crazy year. It's been a heck of a year. And I'm so looking forward to us being able to be back in the same physical space, as well as continue to keep our camaraderie in the virtual environment as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. And next on the list, we have Jason Seams.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to express my appreciation for the DES team here, and most specifically, of course, the Office of Risk Management team. Over the past year, they've moved from working in the office to a remote setting, and did it without skipping a beat. They process every year, every tort claim that comes in against the state, some 3,000 claims, all the lawsuits. They handle hundreds of calls from sometimes very hostile claimants, very confused claimants, and do it very well. Our loss prevention team trains and has continued to train through the remote environment all the state agency risk managers on how to do enterprise risk management in their agency to try and reduce the cost to the state. And then we place hundreds of millions of dollars in insurance for the various agencies. But I think, the thing that makes the team at risk management so unique is the way that they do their work. They have each other's back, they care about each other, and they're very consistently kind to one another. And I think over the last year, supporting one another as through illness, through family issues, people having their kids home, to work in a place where you know that your coworkers have your back and that you're supported and cared about makes all the difference. I think, when you look back on your career at all the different jobs you've had, the thing that distinguishes a good job from a bad job isn't so much the tasks you do every day, is the people you do it alongside. And I think that's something that, the folks in risk management do very, very well. It's like a family there. And for that, I am truly grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Linda Farmer.
Good morning. I'm Linda Farmer. I'm the Chief Communications Officer, and our role in the Communications Division is to connect DES to our customers, but also to each other here inside DES. And we do that through things like our weekly DES News e-newsletter and updating the intranet, which is called Inside DES, and through all staff events like this. I love telling this story. Our team had just started a major reorganization when the pandemic hit, and I hope I might get emotional too here. Not only were we changing our work to better serve you, we were onboarding 2 new employees. In fact, one of them started the day before the remote workers were sent home. And if you think back to the time when you first started here at DES, this is a very complex place, and it takes a while to learn. And that's saying nothing. I mean, if you're on site, but if you're off site and still trying to do that. So all sorts of crazy things going on with the team. It was like old school Star Trek. You're in the transporter room on the Enterprise. Things are nice and tidy. You're getting ready to transport. And then all of a sudden you're on the surface of the planet and you're immediately tense. What's going on? What kind of trouble is coming my way? We were immediately assessing the situation, working with so many divisions across the agency, trying to figure out what to do and then to act on it. It's hard to remember now. It seems like a million years ago, but everything was changing like every minute of every day. We had to pivot from communicating weekly to communicating daily, sometimes twice in a day, because things were changing so fast. There was a huge increase in demand for our services. We were working 14-hour days, we were working weekends alongside of all of you. And we tried to do it with a lens from all of our employees. If you're a remote worker, it's easy to adopt that lens, but we deliberately tried to look at our communications from the lens of the essential on-site crews as well, because everybody has a different perspective, and our on-site crews are facing different challenges and challenges than the remote workers. I wanted to give a shout out to our partners across the agency. I'm going to forget somebody I know. ETS for figuring out the equipment and platforms so early on and answering all of my dumb questions as I tried to get organized so that I could help better serve everybody. HR for the huge effort on leave and childcare and unemployment issues. Every time we turned around, a policy or a procedure was changing and we needed to get you that critical information. To CSVS for rolling out the WA Agency Alerts Notification Program. As Bob mentioned, that's something we had wanted to do for a long time. Hey, nothing like a pandemic to roll something like that out in. My team is small enough. I have the ability to give a shout out to everybody, to Linda, Niket, Carrie, John, Jen, Allison, Sarah, and our newest member, Brooke. You guys kept me going, whether you knew it or not. Didn't expect to get emotional. Your commitment to this agency and your desire to get the correct information out to all of the staff so that they can do their jobs better is so inspiring to me. And it kept me going. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to Chris and Annette because they dug in and they empowered us leaders to move forward and to move forward quickly and to make decisions in the moment so that we could show up as an agency and do the job that we needed to do. And at the same time, they encourage us to take time for ourselves, if that was possible, to take care of our staff, to take care of you, because that's what matters. You matter. Family first, whatever schedule you needed to get your job done, because there were all sorts of things going on with our families, and everything was crazy and changing. And thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Next, we have Lynn McGuire.
Good morning. I'm Lynn McGuire, the Chief Financial Officer for DES. In over 35 years of public service, I've never been as proud as I have been to be part of finance and the DES and State of Washington teams as this year. And the government's been called on to help people as never before. And every part of DES rallied to help where we could. And I think back to the last year, some of these challenges, we had to invent a completely new business to support the purchase and distribution of PPE, like in a couple of weeks. We've had unusually high levels of demand from some of our services. We had to transform some of them radically for the pandemic era, and you've been hearing some of those examples today. In other places, we were challenged to adapt businesses because demand plummeted for things like travel or training or parking. So overall, I would say it's been the most challenging budget, financial, payroll situation I've seen in my career. But it has also been the most inspiring time to witness how everyone has helped to meet these challenges with such good cheer and ingenuity and teamwork. I'd especially like to thank the finance team for all the ways you contributed in supporting our DES and small agency customers and all these challenges and more, and to all the partners throughout the agency who helped us when we needed it, which was a lot. It's been inspiring to me to see how you all kept our regular finance division services going seamlessly as we moved overnight to work from home. And also, by keeping stuff regularly going, but we also made major improvements during this time in our processes for accounts receivable, payable, cashiering, capital budgeting, small agency connections, and in tech leasing and allotment system improvements with help from ETS. And then inspiring to see how all of you are embracing and providing statewide leadership in the major government-wide transformational work of the One Washington Project. But like others have said too, I think the most inspiring thing to me has been to witness your support and care for each other, and finding those ways of maintaining our connections during these unusual times. It's just so cool. So you are making a difference for so many, and I hope you know that. Thank you for all you do. It's a privilege to serve with all of you. I almost made it.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Mary Jane Kirk.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mary Jane. I am the Assistant Director for the Business Resources Division. Programs within this division largely continued to have staff in the office over this past year. Individuals who could telework did, and in many cases, I created hybrid work schedules, both spending time at home and in the office. And I want to start by, really acknowledging the team members who were in the office and continued to come in the office during, really unprecedented times where, early on in the pandemic, supplies were hard to get, and a lot of concern about their safety in the workplace and the risks that they were taking for their families in commitment to meeting the needs of our customers. It has been truly inspiring day in and day out to watch everything that you do. The division is very diverse in the work that we do. And today I want to try and highlight some of the accomplishments from each of the programs. I recognize I won't be able to capture everything that these teams have accomplished over the past year, but I do want each and every one of the members of BRD to know that their specific efforts have not gone unnoticed and that they are appreciated. Every day we are making things better for the customers that we serve and for our teams and for government as a whole. So with that said, I'm going to start with acknowledging some of the accomplishments from the Fleet and Parking Services team. This team continued over this past year to improve customer and team satisfaction. They did a redesign of the Fleet and Parking website. They enhanced quarterly vehicle utilization reports that are used by agency transportation officers. They completed the rulemaking activity that brings changes to Deschutes Parkway. They ensured that daily trip vehicles were disinfected after every use. They worked to deploy a new parking management system on the Capitol campus that will be coming very soon. And they assisted customers, throughout the state as we dealt with, dead batteries for vehicles that sat, increasing catalytic converter thefts, and ensured that vehicles were made operational as quickly as possible to ensure that our agencies could begin supporting or continue supporting mission critical activities. So thank you to the Parking and Fleet Services team. Print and mail services, this team was highlighted in a news story earlier this week, and today I really want to focus on the early months of the pandemic, where these programs experienced an unprecedented need for printed materials. That need had resulted in a 36% increase in workload to production services, a 30% increase to inserting, and an 18% increase to our pre-sorting operations at CMS. In order to meet these customer demands and needs, staff from these organizations, production services and CMS, stepped up. They worked long days, they worked weekends, they put in whatever it took to get the job done. In addition, as agencies were shutting down in-person operations, the CMS team had to manage and navigate a tremendous volume of change orders for mail delivery throughout Western Washington. This team continues to come through day in and day out to support the needs of our customers and ensure that they received mail in whatever fashion met those agency business needs. So thank you to the print and mail teams for everything that you do. Surplus operations, we've heard a little bit so far with regards to the PPE distribution. This team was highlighted in a news story earlier this week, and during the early days of the pandemic, the team stepped up and stood up a new business line within really a matter of days to support the PPE distribution throughout the state, getting those critical supplies to frontline workers who were so desperately in need of these items. These teams, again, worked long hours and weekends to ensure that PPE got into our warehouse, that it went into inventory, that orders were processed and delivered, and really saw fruits of those labors from our drivers when they were delivering PPE, and just the tremendous emotion from people being so grateful for the items that we were getting to them. Their commitment ensured that customers who placed orders, once we received those orders, within 24 to 48 hours, those orders were delivered statewide. That was truly a tremendous achievement. In addition to supporting the ongoing COVID response efforts, the team also continued to do what they could to support our normal book of business in surplus operations, and continued to post items online for the public to bid on. And we provided curbside delivery for pickup of those items. Over the past few months, the team has been able to resume many of their activities to support their core mission on a full-time basis. In doing this, the team was then faced with a tremendous amount of backlog. We had over 200 requests to pick up vehicles and over 100 requests to pick up standard items. This team continues to rise to the occasion and has been working hard to get these items picked up and listed for sale. While the store remains closed to the public, the team has implemented buy it now options and expanded their online offerings. These efforts have brought in over $1 million in sales and generated almost $850,000 in proceeds going back to state agencies. The federal program also was able to acquire $2 million worth of property that is being made available to veteran-owned businesses who were granted access to the federal program throughout the Veterans Small Business Enhancement Act of 2018. So we've been able to put those processes in place and acquire those items to be able to support those businesses. I also want to take a moment and recognize George Carter and Josh Brown for the work that they do to support business resources. I could not have made it through this past year without them. They have been just a huge support to all of the work that we've accomplished within BRD. I am truly honored to be able to be a part of the work that the BRD team does day in and day out, not just in this year, but in all of the years that I've been a part of this organization. Is truly remarkable. I have never worked for another organization with people who are so dedicated to the outcomes of customers. It's remarkable, and I look forward to working with you for many, many more years. I also want to recognize and thank our DES partners for supporting us in the work that we do every day. Our HR partners, WSD, Finance, Communications, Strategy and Performance, Buildings and Grounds, FPS, Contracts and Procurement, Real Estate Services, ETS, Risk Management, and our executive leadership team. Your support and leadership does not go unnoticed, and we appreciate all that you do to help us be successful every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jane. Next, we have Marissa Van Hooser.
So I'm Marissa Van Hooser, and I am the Strategy and Performance Officer for DES. And I have a unique ability to do something that a lot of my team members on LT can't do, which is give a shout out to each member of my team, because the S&P team is a smaller group, but I like to say small but mighty. And I'm going to embrace that uniqueness today and take the opportunity to call out my team members who are often in the background working to achieve other people's goals. First, I want to say thank you to the 3 new team members that have joined the team in the last month, Annalise D'Angelo, Jennifer Phillips, and Melissa Harris. Sorry, Cindy, in Workforce Support and Development Division, kind of. I did what I could do to convince them not to join. I talked to them about how the work is difficult, that it can be misunderstood, that there's no playbooks in place to follow, and you have to bring together people and teams that may not want to. And it takes a lot of professional and personal fortitude to constantly stand in the fire with people. And what stood out to me about these 3 individuals in particular was their energy and willingness to run right into that fire. Like, they got excited when I tried to talk them out of it. And as a military veteran who looks for colleagues who will cover me when I run, I can't be any happier than to welcome them to my team. Next is Miss Eden Teachout, who's probably hating that I'm spotlighting her right now. I learn from her every week in informal and formal settings. And her ability to connect with teams and provide valuable information in captivating ways is just, it's unmatched. Then I have Paul Hooley, who works tirelessly to solve and identify problems, not just problems from yesterday and today, but really with a lot of foresight and knowledge to do things today that impact long-term trajectory of systems and processes, but also a trajectory of people. And that's an amazing skill. Many of you also know Heidi Lovall because she not only does work with your teams, but she builds relationships with those teams, real and true relationships with the teams that she works with. And she cares deeply about the people involved in all of the work that she conducts. So shout out to you, Heidi. Thank you for the work that you do. There's also many of you who know Carrie Bustetter, who recently celebrated 20 years of state service. And I can't tell you what kind of a light he's been to me personally, but he shows me every day that even when you're facing tough and complicated problems through decades of experience with the state, that you can still show up and solve those problems with optimism and energy. And it's catching, you know, that kind of energy is catching. And then I've got Jessica Mobbs on our team, and she's another team member that I could probably spend the rest of this time talking about, just like everybody else, but I'll keep it short and I'll say this. You always want go-getters on your team, and Jessica has that energy and she brings it every day. Every day she brings that, and it's remarkable, not just in my connection with her, but in how she brings that forward into the team. So I guess I should say, as a point of transparency, I know that the S&P team members are going to give me an earful for having called them out this way, because none of them would recommend that I would provide them recognition in this way. But they also know that sometimes I listen and sometimes I don't. So a heartfelt thank you to that whole team, and a sorry in advance. But another unique part of the S&P team that I'm grateful for is something I'd like to thank this agency for, which is that you invite our small team into yours. I've had the personal privilege of working with many of the teams across this agency this past year. BRD's surplus team, the P&I teams, the contracts team, Keith out of finance in the whole PPE fight. And it's been absolutely wonderful learning you and your teams and your books of business and being able to be in the fight together on that. And usually we were on the same side fighting other partners, which was nice. But it's been amazing being able to do that kind of deep dive across the agency and learning about all the books of business. And then, so I have one more team I want to make sure I call out. And it's those of you who raised your hands to join the agency's DEI Council and supporting the work to make our agency more inclusive. It wasn't ever billed as easy work. I think a lot of people knew that there was a lot of hard and difficult conversations ahead of us. And we had more people in this agency raise their hands to volunteer for that difficult work than we had spots available on the team. And I can't tell you how incredible that sign is and how reflective it is of this agency and the spirit of it in just wanting to tackle the tough problems and volunteering your time, your energy, your resources in being able to fix things, not just for yourselves, but for those around you. Thank you really just isn't enough, but it's what I've got right now. And then on a personal note, thank you to everyone who's been in a meeting with me over this past year as I struggled to have a kindergartner for a coworker. It was an absolute blessing to be able to have that experience, but many of you had to flex with me. And I don't have the words to express my appreciation for being provided that kind of grace and ability to, have him on my lap, interrupt from across the room, delay a meeting, get out of a meeting late, and still do incredible work together. So I appreciate all of you and thank you so much.
Thank you, Marissa.
Hey, Brooke, before you continue, I just want to let everybody know that when they're sharing comments, make sure they select the all panelists and attendees, because some folks are sharing only with the panelists when I can tell that the comments for everybody.
Thank you for, yeah. Okay, next down the list, we have Seth Wallace.
Okay, I guess it's my turn to try and get through this without bawling. I'd like to first start by, thanking all of DES, particularly the shared services providers that keep RAS running. I'm the Assistant Director for Real Estate Services. I'd like to thank Internal Facilities who've been holding down the fort at 1500 Jefferson, receiving packages, preparing things for surplus, laptops, helping people load chairs into cars, acquiring the small items to make everybody comfortable to work from home. Thank you, Brad and Allison. I'm really proud of the entire team and the response during the early days of the pandemic and trying to be responsive to the tasks that were handed down. Just being sent off to scour the state for turning over stones looking for absolute unicorns and finding them. we got direction on a Friday afternoon to lease a hospital in Yakima, and by Monday we had a signed contract. Leasing 150,000 square feet of warehouse space to store PPE within a matter of weeks. Trying to find conditioned warehouse space, looking for quarantine sites, trying to find entire motels for rent. And in some cases, we were asked to find morgues. And what a very difficult change of mindset from what we do on a daily basis. I'd like to thank, again, all of them for what we do on a daily basis, and the support we provide to some very important agencies, social safety nets. If anyone's ever been out to a DCYF or a DSHS facility and walked through there and seen cubicles full of lice medication and car seats and things to assist with people that are dealing with elderly abuse. I mean, these facilities, people go into them generally on the worst day of their lives, and trying to keep them up, running, supportive, a nice place to work for the folks that work for those agencies, a lot of them for very little money, providing the social safety net that keeps Washington going. Leasing team, you guys are awesome. Being faced with indecision about the future for many of our leased facilities as contracts were expiring, and addressing them on a day-by-day basis with agencies not knowing if they were ever going back into the building. You've done some amazing creative things. A design team dealing with the questions coming in. Are we putting up plexiglass? How does this work? Is the landlord going to do additional janitorial? What about Legionnaire's disease? No one's been in the building for 3 months. How do we deal with all of these things? Contracts team, same thing. Everyone wanting to go through their contract. Do we have to pay our rent because we're not in the building? And working through all of those issues, all of this unprecedented and something that we've never done before, and just every day approaching with an open mind and doing critical thinking and working through it and really finding the path forward. I would like to thank my res leadership team. I'm blessed with a great group of supervisors and managers who are extremely empathetic, heartfelt people. And that's it. I couldn't be prouder of everybody. And I'm really pleased that we can all come together today in this format. I wish we were all walking around the West Campus, listening to a band, eating some hot dogs and getting free bags of swag. And I hope we're doing that again next year. But in the meantime, thank you all, and thank you leadership team for coming together and expressing your appreciation for the amazing group of people that make up DES.
Thank you, Seth. The ironic thing is when we started planning this, that we were concerned that we wouldn't be able to fill up the time. And so I'm really grateful to everybody, such heartfelt comments. Last on the list today, we have DES Deputy Director Annette Meyer.
Well, hi, everyone. Does this really end in 2 minutes? Does it like cut off in 2 minutes? So I just wanted to make sure.
No, and
no, you won't be cut off.
Okay.
And for those of you who might have another meeting to go to or something, this will be recorded. So if you want to catch the last end of it, we'll share that with you. So yeah, Annette, feel free to share your thoughts.
Okay, good. I was going to have to talk really fast, which I can do. So first of all, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you at DES. It has been a difficult year and a challenging year in so many different ways, and you can hear the stories here from. Thank you, leadership team, for talking about your teams, for showing the rest of us all the amazing things that we do in this agency. It truly is an amazing agency, and I want to just say thank you to this leadership team. Thank you to all of you, but I want to specifically talk about the leadership team for a moment here. I want to say thank you to all of you. I am honored and humbled to work with each of you every single day. At my time of life, I've worked with a lot of different people over the years, and what a privilege it is to work with each of you. You bring such heart and care into everything you do every single day. You care for your people, you care about being a good leader, you care for your teams, you care about your customers, you care about what you're doing. And that is not always, it is a fine and rare thing to have. And I appreciate that every single day. And I want to say thank you for the support that you provide to me. You can't know how much that means to me. And just wow. So thank you. I'm starting to ramble. I'll try to stop that. I also want to represent, you'll notice that we, so I want to represent a bit for a couple of teams that we haven't heard about today. Christine had to be in an emergency meeting with one of her small agency customers, so has apologies for that. And so I'm going to recognize the HR team and all that you have done. Remote work, crazy things going on, all the rules and things that we had to do differently, all the communication you have given us, keeping us informed, keeping us on track, figuring it out yourselves. In spite of changes, you've had changes in your division as well. So I just want to say thank you for the amazing work that you've done supporting us in all of those very, very important HR needs that we have. The other team I want to recognize is buildings and grounds. So Scott has recently, in my opinion, sadly gone on to do other things, very important work for the One Washington project. But I want to say thank you to all of you for each group within buildings and grounds. You have done amazing things, much like business resources. You have been those essential workers that have come to work every single day, in spite of the risks that were involved. You've been, concerned about that. You've taken care of each other. You have provided excellent customer services to all the people that have been coming on campus. You've fixed the broken stuff, the emergent stuff. You've kept our grounds beautifully. You continue to provide all the data that we need to look at your programs, do capital projects, that kind of thing. I want to just say a heartfelt thank you to all of you. It is noticed. People feel that people see what you do and they appreciate it. The Capitol campus is a much better place because of all that you do. And then I just wanted to generally say thank you again for all that you've done. I mean, it is truly inspiring. And those times when we've all had difficult times this year, I fall into that category as well. So what has given me inspiration on many a day is the work that you're doing. You're getting up every day, continuing to support each other, considering to support those you serve, and reimagining the way you do things. I mean, think about all the things that we've done this year that have been different than what we've done, or we've had to literally reimagine what we do and how we do it. So watching how you have all done that and supported each other, that is truly inspiring, and you are role models for me. You are the ones who've been providing the reason to sort of carry on, right? And so I can't tell you how much I'm appreciative of that and how grateful I am of that. You really make me be a better person and a better leader. So I just wanted to say thank you for all that you do. Thank you, leadership team. Thank you, Chris. I wanted to close with saying thank you to Chris. I will, Chris and I think I started a week after Chris started. So he was on my interview panel and he wasn't yet the director. So that always sticks in my mind. But I just want to say thank you to Chris for all the years of support that you have given me. You have always had faith in me and sort of been there to support me. And that is that is something that I do not take for granted, and I will miss you tremendously when you go on to your retirement. I wish you the best in retirement. I hope I can at least hear from you occasionally on your bike trips or whatever it is that's going on. But I just want to say thank you for all your support and your faith in me, and thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Annette. So that's the last person we have on our speaker list for our panelists of our leadership team today. And we're just a little bit over time. I hope that you all had a chance to read some of the comments through. There were just wonderful things being said throughout. I'm so grateful to all of you participating. I will leave you with one final comment that was posted in the chat because I think it's really relevant to everything that's been said. And that is, thank you leaders for all of the heartfelt expressions of gratitude. This is truly a human-centered workplace. And I thought that that was just a really great way to cap this. So thank you for all of you who participated today and have a great rest of your day.